Oh,
Man! Wow, James,
I
what
totally
happened?
thought you were going to say mod.
No.
M-O-D, and then I think we were going to say mod.
No,
And
we've
then
done this
MEM.
3 times already. It's M-O-D, and then you stretch out the D, and then we say man.
All right.
And go Mod Man.
I'm with you.
All
Zach,
right.
do you get it?
Yeah,
He was with me.
Okay.
I was.
All right.
Just a couple steps behind him. I think I was there.
Anyway, we're retreading some familiar ground here. We're taking another look at the Stanley.
Parable.
Well, I was gonna say that, but someone already called me saying that I pronounced it wrong, and I still never.
What did you say? Parable?
Yeah, I don't know what.
Give
the
it a
correct-
shot, Mitch. I'll help you.
Parable.
That's a terrible way to pronounce parable.
That was exactly how you pronounced it.
I said parable.
Yeah, say it again, Mitch.
Parable.
Oh my gosh.
Something's wrong there.
You guys
Oh my gosh.
are not being nice to me. I'm gonna tell my mother, and
Oh no.
she is going to get mad at you. All right, so let's go
Stanley
ahead.
decided to go to the staff lounge
Oh,
to
hold on.
check on his co-workers.
Let's turn on.
He never
is there
functioned well
subtitles?
by himself
I don't know. Let's
and
see.
constantly needed support and guidance from others.
I don't think
So
there
the
Careful
is.
not to
thought
leak
of
the
total
IP info.
solitude was terrifying
Shut
to
up.
him.
All right.
There's a difficulty level.
How do you change difficulty in the Stanley
I don't know. Maybe
So-
it might be something to try.
So we should bring people up to speed if they didn't see the first Stanley Parable episode. This is a mod for Half-Life 2, and basically we are Stanley, a worker in this building who basically just pushes buttons according to a monitor on screen directions.
The proverbial cog in the machine.
Yes, and then one day, no instructions came. So he was like, "What's going on?" And he steps out, and there's this voice telling him, telling all about his story.
This is strikingly similar to our office, except the walls are different and the ground is different. And those
It's strikingly
doors-
similar, except for everything about it.
Yeah. I knew
When
you were
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
See,
What should we do?
we've done both at this point.
Yes.
So we've gone to the left and gone and done everything he said, or we also went to the right and constantly didn't do what he said.
Yes.
So I say we start off right,
Okay.
and then
Right as in going to the right door, or start off right as in doing what he says?
I don't know. I was hoping that you would
yeah.
make that choice. I was just throwing it out there. So
Okay.
good.
Yeah, my soda.
Your soda.
Oh, jeez. Thank you.
So this is the lounge.
As Stanley entered the lounge, he was horrified to find not a single person here. He decided he
Single
would walk
person
up
here.
to see his boss, hoping that he would find an answer there.
Okay. Well, I guess there's no way to cheat Destiny here because there's only one door.
Could just stand in front of the soda machine and kick it.
Yeah, we could just sit here forever. Try to use
Yeah.
it.
Oh, hey, Dr. Breen. That's a character from Half-Life, isn't it? Yes. No.
I think
Sure.
it was Doctor is greater than Brain. Get in there. Can you open the door?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Downstairs.
Downstairs.
I mean, I think so.
I'm scared.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, of admitting that he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, was it really worth taking that risk? All because he believed everyone had disappeared? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. Everyone I know simply vanishing out of the blue, there's almost no other explanation for it. And a nagging fear began to creep up in his mind.
Wait a second, Mitch.
We're going in
It had been
circles.
there all along. He just hadn't put his finger on them yet. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Oh my God, he's right.
Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
Why do they
And
close
for that
automatically?
matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Was he just walking around in circles?
Oh my God, he's
Where
right.
am I, he thought.
I think you have to take the black
And the
hole.
more he found himself unable to answer these questions, the more questions continued to arise. until he came to the issue that had been slowly boiling until he could ignore it no longer. Why is there a voice in my head, dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Suddenly, every door slammed shut. "No!" Stanley screamed. "I need to get out of here. I need to know that there's something out there. I need to know it's not just all in my head." And he screamed and clutched at his skull as the voice grew harsher and the music in the background rose higher and higher. And then, moments before collapsing to the ground, Stanley clenched his fists and screamed to anyone who might be listening, "I'm not real! I'm not real! Don't believe any of it! None of it's real!" And then everything went black.
Yeah, that's actually what happens when you have.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
I like girls. Sorry. They introduce a woman, and I'm like,
Mariella woke up on a day like any other.
happy to hear it.
She got dressed, went to work, clocked in, clocked out, and then she walked home. But her walk on this day was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Moments after seeing him, she would turn, run to the nearest police station, and call for an ambulance. But for just a few brief seconds, she merely stood there, unable to move. The tragedy was not the death of a single person. It was that she would never know this man's story, never hear in his own words what had happened to him, or what he believed had happened to him. For to know these things would be to exist inside the head of the man himself. So all she could do was observe from a distance and pity him. But Mariella had places to be and people to meet with, very important people, whose impressions of her would affect her career and indeed the rest of her life. She stood there for only a moment, looking down at the body, and then she ran.
To be honest, I think a minute is a long time to be staring at someone who's lying dead in the street before calling the police or something like that.
I mean, I've waited longer.
Yeah, I have too.
Well, living on Venice, living in Venice, I would imagine it's not as uncommon.
Actually, I gotta be honest, not to get too dark, but I did pass a dead body on the way to work one day.
Oh yeah.
But
Wait, work here or
work here, yeah.
Yeah?
On Venice. I'm sure I tweeted it. Dead body. Stepping over. But I didn't realize it was a dead body when I passed it. It wasn't until I read the news that there was a dead body. I thought they were just sleeping. No, there was cops. There was cops around this location. I thought it's not uncommon to see somebody laying in the middle.
Stanley
of the
decided to go to the staff lounge to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed
So I say we
support
get
and
to the
guidance
end
from
again, but
others.
we're in that big
Yeah.
The
computer.
thought of total
Okay, let's do
solitude
that.
was terrifying
So
to him.
follow all his directions.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors,
Left door.
he entered the door on his left.
It'd be funny if he actually, caught on to the fact that you weren't even paying attention to his directions and you're just trying to speed run through everything.
As Stanley entered
I
the
wonder
lounge,
if
he was horrified to find not a single person here.
Oh, look at this
horrified.
thing.
He did walk up to see his boss,
Where is everyone?
hoping
What?
that he would find an
This?
answer there.
I might be able to learn something here.
Uncle.
Uncle No Pants.
It's Alex. That's from Half-Life 2. There's Popular Scientist on the wall. My favorite magazine.
Popular Science
Coming to a
is an
staircase,
oxymoron.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Entering his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. It was at this point that
You
he
should
began to
teabag
feel
his
dizzy
desk.
and a little
Can't
sick,
jump.
and even thought he might pass out when suddenly he noticed a keypad next to the filing cabinet in the corner of his boss's office. Stanley had never seen this panel before and had no
he's
idea
seen
what
it.
combination of numbers would produce any result. In fact, only Stanley's boss knew this, since the panel withheld access to the boss's greatest, darkest secret. And so he had assigned the keypad a combination that only he could possibly know. The number of his freshman dorm number in college, 1957.
Should I type
But
something
of
else?
course,
I don't know,
Stanley
exactly.
couldn't possibly have known this.
Yeah.
1.
Put like some funny number. You know.
1, 9, 5, 8. Nope.
That's a good
That's
number.
hilarious. Try 6969.
Stanley
60,
just sat
9,
around twiddling his thumbs.
69.
Trying to input anything on
Now
the
try
keypad was useless,
8008.
since he could never possibly know that the combination was 1957.
All right, fine.
6, 6, 6, 8.
Now that's a funny
1,
number.
9, 5, 7.
He's starting to get annoyed. 2, 2, 4, 5. What's your birthday?
It's December 2nd,
2, 1, 2, 2.
1970.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
Wow.
Amazing.
Your
Stanley
birthday
ventured forth
is
into the newly
the
opened
code.
passageway.
Nice. I wonder if this is going to take us to the right place.
As he drew deeper into the bowels of the building, Stanley had no idea where he was or what this place held. And just as he began to think he might not discover a thing, he emerged into a long room to find rows and rows of monitors, screens with a number above it. Stanley noticed, however, that these were not random numbers, but the number of employees who worked in the building, his co-workers. Even his own number, 427, had a place on the wall. But why a setup so elaborate, he asked. Was this simple surveillance or something even more? And as if in answer to his question, the wall slid open before him, revealing
Obviously,
the
they're not
ultimate
random,
truth
they're
of the situation.
sequential.
An enormous control panel Stanley discovered, but not one that controlled simple machinery. Buttons were labeled with emotions. Happy, sad. Levers and knobs controlled actions. Walking, eating, doing work, or watching TV. Every input on this device monitored not the functions of a machine, but of a human being. And the reality began to sink in. Stanley, like so many other people, reduced to images on a monitor, had been under someone's control, always at the mercy of this machine. Could this have been the only reason employee number 427 was content with his boring job? That a machine had altered his emotions to accept it blindly? He began to feel an unbridled rage, and at the peak of his anger, something happened. A spark. Stanley looked up and saw the generator overhead, still providing some small amount of power to the machine, keeping it alive. And knowing that this generator was all that kept the controls running, Stanley moved to the ladder in the back of the room and began to climb towards the rafters.
What's that red button on the wall?
What red button? This one?
Yeah. Maybe it's a
It
laser.
does nothing. It does nothing. So, does this make you guys think that maybe we are all under control by machines programmed to enjoy our job, our boring jobs?
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but I'm more of the theory
The
that
higher
we are a
Stanley
series of...
climbed, the closer he felt to freedom, the further from enslavement.
I believe we're a series of chemical reactions, and we have the illusion of freedom of will.
Can I be Trinity?
Oh, in the Matrix?
Yeah.
Like, okay. Yeah. Sure.
Mitch, you could be Neo, and James, you could be Morpheus.
I know Kung Fu. Okay, what did we do last time?
We disabled it, right?
I think we did, and we walked out into reality.
Okay.
So engage.
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 Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you?
Uh-oh.
After it kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself? Is that what you wanted?
No.
Control? Stanley. Stanley. I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were meant to let it go, turn the controls off and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you have. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized that he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Oh, let's make it say, 2 minutes. Now,
James, we got 2
this is
minutes to
making
do
things
something.
a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley?
Push all the red buttons.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Play with those controls all you like. The real
I like you
controls are
on.
where I'm sitting.
There's
Did
a
you
note.
really ever
What, a
believe
note?
you held any power?
Didn't say anything. You're
Did you
wasting
not
time.
think I knew what I was doing? When I erased your co-workers and turned off the machine, I was offering you freedom, an escape. I didn't have to do that. I've run this story many times, and I don't always
go.
set you free. Sometimes you just sit there, day after day after day, doing your job forever, and then dying alone. But when I actually give you the freedom to control your own
Mitch,
actions,
do something!
I'm
it's not
trying.
enough.
I think you have to be able to start.
I let you go, and you
What
treat
kind
yourself
of order,
just the
Dad?
same.
I don't know.
You just weren't made to
order you
handle
can
this
get
sort
in
of
2 minutes?
responsibility.
Maybe you can go upstairs and turn off the
But you know
controls.
what you were made for?
But then what are we really
Pushing
doing?
buttons.
It's the same thing. He's pushing our buttons.
You
making
get
us
it
do
now?
what we
It's
want.
true. We've got to make our
I'm
stand
enjoying
now
it.
before
Yeah.
the war of the machines
Tell you what,
begins.
I'll
Yeah,
throw
close
some
up
extra
the
time on the clock just because I'm having so much fun. There we go.
There.
You see,
that's nice.
I want to watch you for every long second you try to puzzle this out. After all, it should make sense, right? The timer, the nuclear detonation, the mysterious facility, it's all
Right.
here. This is a video game.
You can't get up
Except
the
for one
ladder.
thing there.
Yeah, because you're going down it.
You've got no weapon,
Look up.
no vehicle. You don't even know where you're going. When you
Oh,
saw
back
that
down.
timer, you
Mitch, are
just
you okay?
instinctively started trying to find an exit, didn't you? In fact, I
There's
bet
a
you're
vent
still
you
looking
can
for a
exit
way
through.
out. I bet
There's
you're
nuclear
clicking on
bombs.
everything in this room, trying to open doors or vents or something and
Nuclear?
solve the puzzle. As though this game has a solution, as though it can be won. That
when you hit the
timer is
switch
not
for
a
like-
catalyst to keep things moving along.
Saying important stuff.
It's just seconds ticking away to your death. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. It's the moment when the hero realizes that despite his best efforts, he is powerless to his environment.
There's
And
nothing I can
then
do, guys.
he lets go.
How about the vent that's on
He
the second floor?
surrenders.
The vent?
And he dies.
Maybe it's on the third floor. You got 38
30
seconds.
seconds,
Yeah.
Stanley. 30 seconds.
Get up the ladder!
Boom. And then nothing.
Get to that next
No
ladder. Is there
ending
not
to
a
the
run
story,
button on
just
this?
There's
a
not a
damn
rope. There's not a run
I
button.
suppose you could have gotten an actual ending if you played along, but that just wouldn't have been your style, would it? Instead, you'll perish knowing that the only
Okay,
choice
turn it
you
off.
made here was to turn on that machine and to start
15
this
seconds.
timer.
Turn the off dial
You
again.
won't be
See if there's.
alone,
You
because
can
I'm
turn
not going
off the
anywhere.
safety mechanism.
10,
I'll
9.
be here to watch every second of your
7,
inevitable
6,
life from the
5,
time we fade in
4.
until the moment I say, happily
It
ever.
won't let me!
Oh!
Did we win?
We won.
Winners!
Should we
I
go
think
another
we're
one?
done, right?
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we blew it.
We blew it. Alright, well, thanks for watching, Mon Men. There's a link to the Stanley Parable download in the description, or at least there should be, hopefully. And...
Don't forget to like.
Alright!
And subscribe.
Rah, rah, rah.
Bye-bye.
Rah, rah.